The Dragon King's palace clung to Mount Cindervale, a fortress of black basalt and cooled lava. Kelthar-Ashkron, Lord of the Eastern Skies, sat in the grand hall. He rested on a throne of heated gold and dark iron. Braziers burned along the pillars. Their light slid over his scales. He studied another line of warriors come to face his test. They arrived from every road the world could offer. Elven duelists with moonbright steel, dwarven berserkers with hammers like anvils, orc captains covered in old scars. All sought the same reward, a place in Kelthar-Ashkron's Skyguard, the elite protectors of the mountain realm. No one had earned it in 3 centuries. The test was never announced. Some candidates did not even reach the throne. Others lasted a heartbeat before Kelthar-Ashkron dismissed them with a flick of claw. A few tried combat. Their blades rang and sparked, then slid off scales harder than forged metal. The guards escorted them out, faces burning. Kelthar-Ashkron never explained. He watched, judged, and turned them away. That morning, a famous human commander stepped forward, armor polished, voice louder than sense. He boasted that discipline could tame dragons. The hall went still. Heat gathered in Kelthar-Ashkron's throat. For an instant, the court believed the king would make an example. Warriors tightened their grips. Courtiers looked away. The commander's smile finally faltered. Kelthar-Ashkron's chest swelled with fire. The first spark of an ending no one could stop. Then, far below the throne room, in stables carved into the mountain's ribs, a human cub scraped straw from a stall. His name was Kieran Vale, 16 years old. Slight, quick, and careful with his hands. He had been allowed into dragon territory only as part of a border bargain. Humans were considered fragile here. No claws, no wings, no native magic. But Kieran Vale did not argue. He worked. The lesser wyverns responded to him. They were distant cousins of dragons, used to carry messages through storms, used to haul supplies over ridges. Kieran Vale learned their temperaments. He knew which one panicked at thunder, which one refused bitter feed, which one liked a soft song when its wing ached. The stable keeper, a stooped drakeborn named Brask, often said the cub had a gift. That same day, Kieran Vale brushed down Saffron, a sharp-tempered ember wyvern, one that had bitten 3 handlers before him. From above came muffled shouts, and the scrape of heavy boots, another challenger being turned away. Kieran Vale shook his head and spoke to Saffron under his breath. "All these champions," he murmured, "and not one can figure out what makes a king say yes." Saffron snorted, as if she agreed. Kieran Vale did not know Kelthar-Ashkron could hear him. A dragon's hearing was legend for a reason. When Kelthar-Ashkron chose, he could pick a whisper out of wind. And lately, he had been listening to the human cub below, to the gentle words offered to creatures everyone else treated like tools. That afternoon, after dismissing the arrogant commander with a single cold stare, Kelthar-Ashkron made a choice that stunned his court. He left the throne. He descended through inner ramps, wings tucked tight, claws striking stone with slow, deliberate weight. The Dragon King did not go to the war room. He did not go to the armory. He went down into the stables where the air smelled of hay and ash. Kieran Vale was humming while he worked, an old human tune about a lost foal. And the farmer who fed it through winter, he did not notice the shadow filling the doorway until every wyvern froze at once. Saffron's head lifted, eyes wide. Kieran Vale turned and nearly dropped his brush. Kelthar-Ashkron filled the entrance, his head alone larger than a wagon, heat rolling off him in waves. My king," Kieran Vale managed. Dropping to one knee, heart hammering. "Rise," Kelthar-Ashkron said. "You are the human cub called Kieran Vale." "Yes, my king." Kelthar-Ashkron stepped inside with careful grace. His gaze pinned Kieran Vale with an intensity that made the boy feel transparent. "You have served here 6 months," Kelthar-Ashkron said. "You tend my messengers. You calm those who bite. You mend those who limp." "I try," Kieran Vale said. "Why?" The question struck harder than any threat. Kelthar-Ashkron's eyes narrowed. You are human. These are not your kin. You owe them no loyalty. Yet Brask says they have never been better tended. Why do you care? Kieranvale swallowed. Fear wrestled with the strange honesty in the king's tone, but the question was real. And Kieranvale answered with the only truth he had. Because they matter, he said. They serve this mountain. They fly through snow and smoke to carry words that save lives. They come back tired and hurt, and most people only see a saddle and a message tube. If I can give them clean straw and gentle hands, then at least someone sees them. He hesitated, then added softly, and when you're small, you notice the small. Silence held the stable. Keltharash Crone stared at the cub as if a locked door had opened. Then something impossible happened. The corner of the Dragon King's mouth lifted. Small, real, impossible to miss. 300 years, Kelthar, Ashcrone murmured. Champions and mages, conquerors and princes, all bringing me strength and pride. None bringing me compassion for those beneath them. None understanding that power is proven by restraint. Kieranvale's mouth opened, but no sound came. Kelthar Ashcrone lowered his head, close enough that Kieranvale felt the warmth of his breath. You pass my trial, Kieranvale, not as a blade in my skyguard. You are right. You lack the body for that. But you will stand beside my counsel as my reminder. You will speak when my judgment turns cold. Kieranvale blinked, stunned. For dragons, Kelthar Ashcrone said, it is easy to forget the value of the small. We guard kingdoms, yet we step over the weak without seeing. You will teach us to see. The Dragon King straightened, and his smile widened. Besides, he said, it has been 3 centuries since anything earned that expression from me. That is worth more than a hall full of swords. As Kelthar Ashcrone turned to leave, Kieranvale found his voice. My king, he whispered. Why did you need to smile again? Kelthar Ashcrone paused at the doorway. When he looked back, his eyes held old sorrow and a new, careful light. Because, little cub, he said, a king who cannot smile has forgotten why his realm is worth protecting. Today you reminded me. That is the greatest service any warrior could give. Then Kelthar Ashcrone departed, leaving the stables quiet, the wyverns calm, and a human cub standing with a brush in his hand. Wondering how simple care had shifted the fate of a kingdom, the warriors could keep their blades and their bragging. Kieranvale had given an immortal king a reason to remember. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe to Neon Cub Tales right now. You do not want to miss the next one. Tap. Okay. Like if you felt that Dragon King moment, share this video with a friend who loves FAI and fantasy stories, and comment below. Would you take the Dragon King's test, or would you walk away? Your comment helps the channel grow. Your support keeps these stories coming. Subscribe to Neon Cub Tales and join the Cub Squad today.